everyone! Please do not pay attention to the messy kitchen behind me. Luckily, I've got my new tech now, my new camera, so it's kind of nicely, softly blurred out. I am just about to make some dinner. I'm gonna throw together a mushroomy kind of pie topped with mashed potato, and I just thought I would share this recipe with you. I'm gonna guide you through what I am gonna put in it first of all, and then I'm gonna show you step by step how I make it. Here we go. Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to be doing is switching my oven on so it can preheat before I start chopping all of the bits and bobs that are going to go into the pie. So I have set the oven to roughly 180 fan to 200. It doesn't make much of a difference because I'm not going to be cooking the stuff. I'm going to cook it on the stove first of all and then just put it into the oven to kind of crisp up the top. So as long as it's high-ish, that's the main thing. So first of all, preheat your oven. Okay, so the next thing I am going to do is prepare all of my veggies. What I'm gonna put into this and what I'm gonna be chopping is, first of all, onion and garlic. I put this into basically everything that I make, so that is gonna be the base of this. So onion and garlic first of all, and then I'm gonna be chopping some organic carrots, some organic celery, and lots and lots and lots of mushrooms. I'm just using normal closed cup white mushrooms. You can use a mixture or chestnut mushrooms or whatever you prefer. I'm just using a lot of mushrooms, and by a lot I mean a 625 gram, to be specific, pot of mushrooms. That's what I'm using. So I'm gonna also chop a courgette as well. So I'm going to prepare all those veggies and then I'm going to put them in a pan to start to cook through, and I will show you what I'm doing as I go along. So we have chopped all of the main veggies. No, not really, because we haven't done the mushrooms yet. But we've chopped like the base veggies that are ready to go in. So we've got the celery, we've got the carrots, we have got the onion and the garlic and everything in here that we need to create the base. Lovely cooking away there. You can see there's still a bit of liquid in the bottom, so that's the water that I've added in, so I don't have to use oil. So yeah, we've got everything cooking nicely in there. And now my eyes are watering because I can't cope with onions cooking. Okay, so up next we have got lovely mushrooms. So this was a 625 gram packet. So these mushrooms will be almost like the soya mince that you would normally put in something like this, but I don't really like to use that soya mince. It doesn't really sit with me very well, so I like to create an alternative, which is this mushroom mixture. So I'm going to chop them really small so that it creates that kind of meaty-ish texture that you would normally get from that soya mince. So while these veggies are still cooking in the background, you can see I am going to chop away on these mushrooms and then add those in. mushrooms. So that's when I'll be adding the stock cube. I'm going to put a slosh of red wine in there that we've got hanging around. And I am going to put in some tomato puree and some mixed herbs and also a teaspoon of coconut sugar, because I always add a stock cube and coconut sugar to pretty much everything that I make, unless it is a dessert. Okay, so at this point, we have got everything in there that I showed you at the beginning. So we've chopped a garlic, we've chopped an onion, we have chopped some organic celery, some organic carrots, some courgette, and we have chopped roughly 600 grams of mushrooms. That's a lot of mushrooms, but they will soon shrink. So don't panic when you see the mountain of mushrooms start to reveal themselves. So once we had put all of that stuff in, I added some sloshes of water as needed so that it doesn't stick, because I'm not using oil for this particular recipe. Do I have something on my face? No, it's on the camera screen. So, so now it's just cooking on the stove. The oven is nicely preheating, and whilst all the other bits were chopping, it's had around 5 or 10 minutes to cook in the water and just kind of steam cook before I added the mushrooms in. Once I added the mushrooms, I then went ahead and threw in around 2 to 3 tablespoons of red wine. This is not necessary. It was just hanging around. I don't personally drink it. I just use it in recipes. I hate red wine, but it's great in recipes. So shoved about 2 to 3 tablespoons in there. The mixed herbs, roughly 2 tablespoons, or until it's herby enough, which is very helpful. There's a nice pair of trousers in the background there. About a teaspoon of coconut sugar and 1 stock cube and a tablespoon of tomato puree. So now the mixture looks like this. And so as you can see, there's already a lot of moisture being produced. So when you first add in those mushrooms and you slosh the red wine in, you're probably thinking this mixture looks quite dry. Don't be tempted to put in a load of water or oil or anything, because if you just sit with it, you'll find that the mushrooms start to produce a lot of liquid, and as a result you just don't need to add the extra stuff in. At this point, you can use this mixture for anything. This is the same base that I would use if I was going to cook some veggie sausages in the oven, and then just cut those up and throw them in the mixture to make a really, really nice sausage stew, which I would serve with mashed potato at the side, maybe some green beans, something like that. So at this point, this mixture is still very much open to interpretation, and it's just a really good base mixture for any kind of winter casserole type dish. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is prepare the mashed potato topping. So I'm going to be using some red potatoes. I'm going to peel those, and then I'm going to chop them up relatively small into kind of any old shape, just so they can boil and soften, and then I'm going to mash those in a bit and use them as the topping. So let's get peeling. So everything is nicely cooking at the moment, and then at the same time I'm also cooking the potatoes here. So I'm just cooking the potatoes as well, and they are just in cold water, and then they're going to come up to the boil. So I'm ready to mash them. So they're going to take about 10 minutes or so. So this mushroom mixture, I am now going to add in a tin of organic kidney beans, and then I am going to assemble. So my potatoes are now cooked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mash them with a bit of butter and also some plant milk of some kind. I'm going to be using soy, but just because it's in the vicinity and I'm not using it for anything else at the moment, so I'm just going to throw some soy in, but it can be oat milk, almond milk, whatever. Then I'm going to add a bit of salt, a bit of pepper, and then I'm going to put them on top of the pie. all that hard work, we are now ready to put it in the oven. So you've just seen that after I have not used any oil in the recipe until this point, I've now just put some oil over the top, but I find that it really crisps up and it helps the potato to crisp up. You can put some vegan cheese on the top. For me, I don't bother with putting cheese on the top. I quite like it as it is. I have put nutritional yeast flakes on it before, and that's fine and it adds some flavor, but they tend to catch in the oven if they're not mixed through the potato, so I haven't bothered this time. So all I'm gonna do now that the pie is ready to go, I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in the oven for around 25-30 minutes, check on it, see if it needs a bit longer, and this is just really just to crisp everything up and cook it all through nicely. So it's been 25 minutes in the oven, and you can see behind me the pie is looking really crispy and brown. The top has got a really nice finish to it and it's all cooked through, and it's just starting to bubble at the sides. So now that it's cooked, I am going to steam some broccoli to have with this, and it goes great with some mushroom gravy if you can be bothered to make that, which is basically just cooking some mushrooms and putting some herbs in and then like whizzing it up with some stock. Basically that's mushroom gravy. I'm just gonna have it as it is with some broccoli, like I say, which I'm gonna steam now. It's just behind me, and yeah, I can't wait to eat it. Go ahead and eat the rest of this. I am very excited to tuck into this dinner, and I hope you enjoyed this recipe. As I said, this recipe is really adaptable, so feel free to make it your own. Hopefully you will find this useful, and it's the perfect winter warmer dinner for the winter season. As always, if you found this recipe helpful or if you have any questions, please pop them below and I will get back to you. Thank you everyone.